Hello, my name is Michael Beer.
My name is David Kirschbaum.
Hello, my name is Yeshua Moser Bungsuan.
I'm Fred Lubang.
I'm director of Nonviolence International in Washington, D.C.
I'm the founder of this office of Nonviolence International in New York. Now I'm semi-retired and I'm just involved with the advocacy work.
With Nonviolence International Canada.
Warmest greetings from Nonviolence International Southeast Asia on this special day of nonviolence.
This is the 149th anniversary of the birth of Mohandas Gandhi, who is often called the father of modern nonviolent action and nonviolence.
The International Day of Nonviolence is a day of reflection for all of us who want to see this move forward in human society as a valued concept.
As the use of power to engage in conflict in a way that all parties in the conflict matters.
I want us to rethink what nonviolence means today. It is a common perspective shared by people we work with in conflict-affected communities that peace has lost its meaning. In a world and time where wars are still happening, refugees and internal displacements are still ongoing in our own countries, armed violence in our streets, injustice, bigotry, misogyny, discrimination, and colonial and imperial tendencies. Just like peace, nonviolence have lost its meaning. We do not know what nonviolence looks like in this day and age, which is why I would like to pose this challenge to everyone. Let us reclaim nonviolence, but before we set out to do that, we should redefine the concept.
Undoubtedly, in your country, the International Day of Nonviolence is not celebrated as energetically as perhaps the Armed Forces Day is. And if this is the case, one has to ask what type of values are being supported by a government. Well, governments have a monopoly on the use of violence. The corollary of this is the people have the monopoly on the use of nonviolence.
The exciting thing about nonviolence is that it's growing in so many facets of the world. Governments now use the rule of law based on constitutions in which law and rules are not imposed on people, but people mutually agree on what their laws should be. And this is another example of collective action, cooperative action to oppose violence and to provide other means of resolving conflict beside violence.
Nonviolence is a large concept. It includes a philosophy of the lack of use of violence in human interactions. It is a method of social struggle. It's an underlying element in all human rights concepts. If you look at what Amnesty International considers to be a prisoner of conscience, it's someone who was pursuing their political goals without the use of violence. And it's a major thread of all major religions. You don't find a religion that says, go out and you shall beat up your neighbor. It's just not said that way. And as a method of social struggle, nonviolence is both against violence and without violence, because there can be many actions that are against violence that are not nonviolent. And if something is simply without violence, then it's normal human interaction. So it must contain both of those elements as part of a social struggle.
The skill set for a nonviolent way of life really is in these three areas of mindfulness, self-awareness, nonviolent communication, and in the area of action, nonviolent action, which often uses, in a social situation, using social constraints on an opponent or a rival or another party to impress upon them costs and or information to communicate your needs. so that you can resolve the conflict in a way that is mutually beneficial. That I define nonviolence as the use of power to engage in conflict in a way that all parties in the conflict matters.
Nonviolence is very important because it brings out what's the best about being a human being. Because when you make a decision and a commitment to being nonviolent, that means when you relate to people, you are trying to find the best way to connect, the way to find a win-win situation, and to understand and communicate the most clearly, and to problem solve so everyone feels satisfied. And this is in contrast to when a person is violent. Usually they dehumanize their victim and they themselves become like a machine trying to do as much damage as possible. So it's like in the whole situation, everyone becomes less human. But when you make a commitment to nonviolence, then you are making a commitment to be the best person you can be and to try to uplift others around you so that the best decisions are made for everyone. And this can be very difficult in this day and age when there's so many people who are into being greedy and into being selfish and full of hate and anger. But there is a way to make it easier, and that is to join with others who are trying to do the same thing, who are making a commitment to being nonviolent. And then you read together, you learn together, you discuss, you work out problems together, you role play, and you build a community of nonviolence, which is a very beautiful, uplifting thing.
Encourage more people to be open and accepting, but mindful and critical at the same time. Engage more. Use available means. Go on Facebook or Instagram and like people's posts who are in line with your views. There is strength in numbers. A simple like or a nod at people's words can show support and encouragement. The worst you can do is ignore each other. Be visible and spread the positivity.
Nonviolence is important to me on 3 levels. The first level is one of thoughts.
Let's use all our senses. We see, we hear, we taste, we smell, we touch. We feel our environment. Do this at home. Do this everywhere you go. Raise your level of awareness of your surrounding, your family, and your community. Feel things around you. Ask yourself. Talk to people. Is there something we want to change?
The second level is one on words.
Second, after sensing, our brains process things. We think. Redundant as it sounds, thinking is crucial. This time, process your thoughts and observations. Do it with your colleagues. Do it with your friends or with people who share the same passion and vision. The last step is the most crucial part of learning.
And the third level of nonviolence is on the level of action.
After feeling and thinking, you need to act. You need to do something. You need to reclaim what peace means and work towards achieving it through nonviolent means. Your actions and its results will define nonviolence.
And as Dr. King said, we can either choose nonviolence or non-existence. The exciting thing is that it's growing in so many facets of the world. Governments now use the rule of law based on constitutions in which law and rules are not imposed on people, but people mutually agree on what their laws should be. And this is another example of collective action, cooperative action to oppose violence and to provide other means of resolving conflict beside violence. This is the way we need to proceed in order to create a sustainable world, and I thank all of you for your work and devotion to help creating a nonviolent world.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and may you continue the work that will define your future.
It's the great honor of my lifetime to work on this project, and I hope we can recruit as many people and much of humanity to commit to making this happen. Thank you.
I thank you.